Mayan Death Robots, put together by Sileni Studios and published by Sedesco Publishing, launched on Steam with a $17 retail price on November 20th. The game is listed as a reinvention of the artillery genre, with numerous mentions in various marketing materials of Worms by Team 17. It's a 2D side view title where you control, aptly enough, a Mayan death robot, but with a bizarre reality TV kind of theme, and it's your task to destroy the core on the opponent's side in order to succeed on each level. The game includes multiplayer via local co-op and has a campaign mode as well, where more unique obstacles pop up along with beating the ever-living Mayan out of your opponent. Thus far, it's the only game released by Sileni Studios. Xbox One and PS4 versions are slated to come out in early 2016, has controller and keyboard support, as well as language localization in English, French, Italian, German, and Spanish. My name's Tarmack, let's get into it. The Mayan Robots of Much Death has a very simple aesthetic. The devs built it in Unity and it runs as well as one would expect. Along with destructible terrain, you can also place terrain blocks, but everything is essentially 90-degree angles. The levels are fairly pretty, but animations leave a few things to be desired, such as being present in a few cases. The hopping Mayans are cute and all, but they should have been animated. A minor gripe though. For graphical options, you can get as high as 4K resolution in full screen or windowed, no borderless windowed unfortunately. The music and sound effects for combat really set the mood and come across as well thought out. The addition of a few little effects like the Mayans chirping makes for some amusement as well. To me, you have to have an amazing product in order to compare yourself to a classic like Worms or Worms 2. One of the hallmarks of the Worms games was the mobility of your characters. In Mayan Death Robots, you really only have a jump option, which removes and replaces a bit of terrain as you hurl yourself on a projectile arc like one of your weapons. This lack of mobility immediately threw me off after having heard the Worms comparison. As a note to small development houses, be very aware of things like this before you set an expectation in the mind of your customer. You can pick from 6 characters to start, with 4 more unlocked as you play. Each death robot has a number of unique abilities in addition to placing terrain, everything from a basic rocket to a nuke, and back to a rocket that can drill through dirt and explodes as soon as it hits air on the other side. Placing dirt is an excellent way to frustrate your opponent, whether by just protecting your core or by putting a wall of dirt in front of their face, resulting in a rather close encounter with their own weapons. Oddly, the game has a double AI mode, which turns on 2 computer AIs in versus, but, and here's the odd part, also in campaign, so you can watch the campaign play itself. It has adaptive AI, which alters the difficulty depending on how terrible you are, or you can set specific difficulty levels. I didn't have a chance to test the different AI, so I can't comment on how good the adaptive setting is. At the very least, it is a commendable option to have. The aiming controls as well as it needs to, in a fashion more like an old artillery game like Scorched Earth did than something like Worms. In addition to the basic versus and campaign level structure, throughout the campaign you will also come across various unique battles. For example, a dragon god which starts destroying parts of the zone. These extra battles, essentially interrupting your main objective of destroying opponents' cores, added a lot of flair to the game and honestly were one of my favorite parts of the campaign. But one element that I'm honestly having a hard time deciding whether it's a good thing or not in this particular instance is the concurrent turn design. There's a timer at the top center of the screen which counts down the time until your next turn and then counts down the time you have to aim your action. When the timer expires, both players' actions go off at the same time. This changes a lot of the normal strategy one would use in a game like this and makes it more action heavy. If that's your thing, then it could be a good feature for you. I was pretty disappointed going into Mayan Death Robots. I heard Worms and immediately made a very wrong judgment about how the game would play. Some people will say it's my fault for making an early judgment before playing, but it wasn't me that decided to market this as a Worms-like artillery game. You have a very limited weapon selection and limited mobility. It's nothing like Worms. It seems like the kind of title that you could blow a half an hour here and there with a friend, but for long-term play I don't see much appeal. The campaign levels are creative and unique Mayan God boss mechanics do add some flair to them. Sound design is pleasant and not overbearing. It runs well, but at the end of the day I was expecting something better. And with a retail price of $17, I simply cannot recommend this title. Hopefully this review helps you make up your mind. It was done based on review code from the developer. You'll notice that I've dumped the review score. That is intentional. I'd really appreciate it if you check out some of the other content on the channel. If you like it, subscribe. My name's Tarmack. Thanks for watching.